What's your opinion of Mayor Mike Savage's announcement not to reoffer for the 2024 municipal election coming this October? You know what my opinion is? I don't buy it. He could be telling the truth that he wants to move on to other things, personal stuff. He could be, but I doubt it. The reason why I doubt it, because when he's being paid from $190,000 a year to $196,000 a year, it's not usually normal for a person to walk away from that kind of job title unless if they're sick, they're not doing well in the numbers, or they're disliked by a lot of people, or if they screwed up in the community. It's generally unusual for a person to walk away from a job that pays them that extreme amount of money. Because when you see a job that pays way, way, way too much, what Mayor Mike Savage is making right now, there's something wrong. There's three options, in my opinion, why Mayor Mike Savage is not reoffering. One, he got the notification that he's going to the Senate. He's going to be appointed to the Senate by Justin Trudeau. That's one of my opinions, what I think is going to happen, because Mike Savage is a former member of Parliament. He's strongly tied into Justin Trudeau, and he's a former member of Parliament who has his ties in with Ottawa. That's my first opinion. My second one was that the Nova Scotia Liberal Party is out to replace Zach Churchill for the leadership of the Nova Scotia Liberal Party, and it's in my opinion that I believe that the Nova Scotia Liberal Party and Mayor Mike Savage were in communication with one another, and I believe that Mayor Mike Savage was given a call to look at a potential leadership convention to replace Zach Churchill, which a few people agreed, because a few people mentioned to me that don't be surprised that you'll see Zach Churchill make an announcement of his resignation for the Nova Scotia Liberal Party, and from that resignation, you may see Mike Savage step forward suddenly. Because why I say that, when you look at Premier Tim Houston, he got no competition to run against. He got the NDP leader, Claudia Chandler, that's not even in the ball game of running. She's a complete waste of time of her even having the NDP leadership currently in the first place, when it should be Peter Stauffer. And when you look at the Nova Scotia Liberal leader, Zach Churchill, it's not strong competition against Premier Tim Houston. It's Zach Churchill or Claudia Chandler are not what I would call serious contenders against Premier Tim Houston. In my opinion, if they were to get a good solid leader, if any of those parties would get a solid leader, that Tim Houston would lose his seat, because Tim Houston and his party has been, what's the best word to say, pissing a lot of people off, I guess you could say. For example, his announcement when Cape Breton had a serious snowstorm. How the rest of Nova Scotia didn't get the brunt of it, but Cape Breton did. And Tim Houston had his nerve to go pick up the phone and call the mayor of Cape Breton and say, "Why'd you declare a state of emergency for?" How ignorant can a premier get? How out of touch, how stupid can a premier get? Because the reason why I say that, they have a thing called telephones. They have a thing called internet. They have a thing called email. Tim Houston could have easily picked up the phone, called the mayor of Cape Breton, sent out an email before making some stupid, uneducated comment to the press saying he can't figure why Cape Breton declared a state of emergency. Not all the time the weather forecasters and the meteorologists are always correct. There's times they can miscalculate the weather, and the weather can do something that's unexpected. It happens, and it happened before. But they didn't miscalculate on this storm that came to Cape Breton. They had stated clearly Nova Scotia will get some of it, but Cape Breton's going to get the full brunt of the storm. And that's what Cape Breton got. And here's Tim Houston showing his ignorance. And not only that, Tim Houston had been failing Nova Scotians, saying that he was going to create jobs in Cape Breton. It never happened. Tim Houston created a thing called a mobile app for your health care service to be done. You can set up an appointments and stuff on your mobile device, your smartphone. The problem with your smartphone is, like I expressed it, is on your smartphone, you got more internet scammers on your smartphone than what you realize, because when your phone is hooked up to the internet, that's how the scammers get to your cell phone service and your access to your stuff, what's on your phone. I don't believe that's a very smart, intelligent thing for Tim Houston to do. I think it's a deplorable thing. It's a lack of respect to the people's privacy and their protection of their privacy. It's literally giving a key to a gateway for the water to flow through the dam and wash everything away. All your information away to these people who don't need access to your healthcare service information. But that's the reason why, in my opinion, the two opinions why Mike Savage is leaving City Hall, the mayor's office. My third option is that I believe Mayor Mike Savage may have committed another scandal, like most politicians do in Nova Scotia and in Canada, that didn't necessarily resurface yet, and he wants to go now while he's ahead of everything before it comes to surface and before people like you and me see it and we get mad again, and here we are with another failed elected official. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying it's a possibility. But one person said it's possible that he just wants to be away from politics. He wants to go on with his life because he's 63 years old. He wants to go now while he's ahead of the game, while he's in good health, before he gets sick and, it's not good. It's possible, but I don't believe Mayor Mike Savage is walking away for that. I believe that there's an issue for that. I believe when Mayor Mike Savage called the police and had those homeless people removed from their shelters, I believe Mayor Mike Savage sustained more damage than what he led up to look to be. If Mayor Mike Savage was your great mayor, why would he call the police on those people for? Do you know why? We all know why. Because it was tourism. He wanted to hide the homelessness from the tourism that was coming into Halifax. He wanted to hide it. He didn't want you to see it. He didn't want the rest of the world to see it. He wanted to hide it. The council members supported the removal of those people, including my councillor, David Hensby. Here, now let's show his face. Here's the thing. I believe it's time for David Hensby to go. And I've been saying that for years and years and years and years. Here's the thing. One time here in Nova Scotia, people used to stick together, and they would remove a politician who was posing a threat to your community and to your livelihoods. And that's what's happening here in Nova Scotia, including municipal politics. The elected people who you elected to represent your communities are posing a risk to your well-being and to your very livelihood, and you're allowing them to continue to go on with their continued failures to work in our community, and that continue to put your livelihood at risk. Today, when people retire, they retire in poverty. They retire with insecurity. They retire with no health care benefits. They retire with no dental care. The federal government introduced a dental care, but you got to be in your 70s to qualify. If you're somebody that's 65 years old, you're cancer and all this stuff, you don't know you're going to make it, or if you have a serious toothache and you got no dental coverage, you sit in pain. They don't want to help you. See, here's the thing. David Hensby, city councilor. I got their pay thing here. City councilor, not David Hensby specifically, but councilors in general at Halifax Regional Council, here they are. They make $92,000 a year, roughly. $92,000 a year to $95,000 a year. Pregner, $96,000 a year. $95,000 $5,579.38 is what they make if they've been around long enough. Now, like I said, when you're making the money that Mayor Mike Savage is making, $190,000 a year to $196,000 a year, how is that addressing poverty? How is that addressing the housing prices in our region? How is that? Because the reason why I say that, because how do you expect to address poverty when these people are making a ridiculous amount of money and they got nothing to show for? Now, David Hensby has some stuff to show for, like the Porter's Lake Park and Ride. We got to have a public transit bus. Now, I want to get to you guys on this. This is where I'm doing. I told David Hensby this, and he agreed. The people of the Eastern Shore want a public transit bus, but they won't get on the bus. Why is that? They've been telling me that the bus service is not providing a very good, reasonable hours of operation to their community of Porter's Lake. BS. This is why I say BS to you. The bus service, the 401, runs 7 days a week. Pretty good hours of operation because of your guys' uncertainty you're going to get on, so you're going to get poor service. So it's running 7 days a week. And it runs, I don't have the schedule on me, but anyways, I'll give you guys the link if you want to see it. But the rapid service, the 370, the last bus leaving, it runs from downtown Halifax to Porter's Lake. And it leaves in the morning from Porter's Lake, downtown Halifax to Scotia Square. 5 days a week, the rapid bus runs. It has good hours of operation. There's no excuse for you people not to be using it. I don't care what your excuses are because I don't believe it. Baloney. And what's wrong is you, the people at home, are too proud to get on the bus because you'd rather sit home, and you drive your big SUVs and your big four-wheel drive trucks, screaming, cursing, go on why you can't afford gas. Because look at the size. And here's the thing: as long as you drive these great big cars, these big SUVs, these big four-wheel drive trucks, the gas prices are always going to continue to rise because they know that you're going to be dumb enough to pay what they charge. And that's why. And believe it or not, we got one guy here in Porter's Lake driving a Lamborghini. In fact, I believe he got two Lamborghinis. You see him driving the Lamborghini through the community of Porter's Lake. Oh, we're desperate for gas. You're desperate for gas, all right? Why are you driving a Lamborghini? Bull crap. And David Hensby had agreed. What's wrong is you guys are not committed to gaining access to a services that's available to you in the community because you're too proud. Ain't that something? Too proud to take the bus. And that's what's wrong. Because when you look at the communities of Porter's Lake, Muscatine Harbor, Gatesbrook, and etc., what do you have? You have your middle class and you have your rich. If you're poor, lo and behold, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. And you stand out like a sore thumb because you really do. And you do on the Eastern Shore, you do. And that's what's wrong with the public transit bus. People are not using it because they're too proud and they rather drive the big trucks and their cars and their Lamborghinis, They rather bitch and complain rather than use the services what they had before them in the community, and that's what's wrong. The services will get better if you access these bus services because, like I said, the 401 travels from Porter's Lake along the number 7 highway, and it ends at the Port Hills bus terminal that's outside of Cole Harbor. But I've been getting after David Hensby saying, why don't you just run that bus right to downtown Halifax? It makes no bloody sense. It's a waste of time getting off at the Port Hills bus terminal because you're waiting 20 minutes for the next bus. And when you take 20 minutes, wait for one bus to transfer over to another bus. And when the bus does its route, you're on the road for about an hour and a half. And that's not reasonable. And like I told David, if you had that bus run right to downtown Halifax, it'd be better. It'd be better. You could probably get more ridership. But, it is what it is. But with David Hensby, I believe it's time for him to change because, see, David Hensby has stuff to show for the community. That's the hard part about knocking David off his pedestal. It can be done, but David actually has stuff to show for. David Hensby, he's like Peter Stauffer. Peter Stauffer and David Hensby, those two, You look at them, they got stuff to show for. You got people like Kent Smith and all this, they got nothing. Kent Smith, from the feedback what I got from the community, he's lucky he still has his job come next provincial election. He's on a lot of bad terms with a lot of people. And we're only in his third year of his first year term. I never knew that a person get hated that much by his own community. But when you do business the way he does, I guess disaster ain't looming too far off. But with Mayor Mike Savage, I don't buy his decision not to reoffer for Halifax Regional Council for his mayor's seat, because here's the thing. I got wind that Andy Fillmore is going to offer for mayor. I heard it through the press. I can't recall what news agency it was, but it was through the grapevine with the press. I heard it. And they said Andy Fillmore is considering running for mayor. Another millionaire. How do we stop millionaires from going to office? Because they're failing our communities something fierce. We already know that party politics is failing our communities. They're not addressing things that matter to the community. They're rather themselves. And here's the thing. I got a clip of John Savage, Mike Savage's father, when he was the premier. And I'm going to show you a clip. This is how Nova Scotians stuck together back then.
You're not entitled to disrupt the proceedings of this House.
Out of control. It's a bunch of men, for Christ's sake, trying to protect their livelihood. What the hell's the matter with you fellows? Wake up and smell the roses.
That fellow dropped from the balcony to the floor of the legislature. That man was taken away by the police and charged with disturbing the peace. Now, the premier also had to be led away by the police.
And I refuse to be intimidated by people like that.
And this video what you're seeing is what we're not doing anymore. Today, like I said, our elected officials are posing a risk to your livelihoods. They're interrupting your livelihoods. They're hurting your livelihoods. In fact, they're killing your livelihoods. They're making it very difficult here to live here on the Eastern Shore and here in Nova Scotia. So I'm going to show you this clip, and I'm going to ask you, this is how Nova Scotia used to be.
You're not entitled to protest. You're not entitled to disrupt the proceedings of this House.
It's not out of control. It's a bunch of men, for Christ's sake, trying to protect their livelihood. What the hell's the matter with you fellows? Wake up and smell the roses. You want her out of control? You just wait.
That fellow dropped from the balcony to the floor of the legislature. That man was taken away by the police and charged with disturbing the peace. Now, the premier also had to be led away by the police.
And I refuse to be intimidated by people like that.